The war had been going on for 3 long years. Earth was tired, the people were scared. Every day brought news of another battle, another loss, another reason to worry that tomorrow might be their last day as free humans. Commander Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge of the biggest human warship, the Defiance. Through the large windows, she could see the stars. Somewhere out there, the enemy was waiting. The Catherians were big insect-like aliens with ships that looked like giant bugs flying through space. They had better weapons than humans. They had better technology. Everyone said humans would lose this war quickly, but humans were still fighting. Elena was proud of that. Her people never gave up, even when things looked bad. Really bad. The Catherians had started this war because they wanted human worlds. They said humans were too violent and needed to be controlled. When humans said no, the bugs decided to take human planets by force. The galaxy watched and waited to see how fast humans would die. Nobody helped. Earth, the big alien groups that controlled most of the galaxy, just watched. They called themselves the Galactic Concordat. Fancy name for a group of aliens who only cared about themselves. When humans asked for help, they said no. When humans begged for weapons, they said no. When human children were dying on burning worlds, they said it was not their problem. Elena remembered the day her homeworld was attacked. She was just a young officer then. The Catherian ships came out of nowhere like a dark cloud covering the sun. Their weapons turned buildings into dust. Their soldiers looked like giant ants with guns. They killed anyone who fought back, but humans learned to fight in ways the bugs did not expect. Elena became famous for her strange battle plans. She would attack when enemies thought she would run away. She would hide when they thought she would attack. The bugs started to fear her name. Today was a good day. Elena's ships had just won a big fight at Kepler 442. Her officers were happy. For once, they had good news to send back to Earth. The Catherians had lost many ships. Human colonies in that area were safe for now. Lieutenant Johnson came running to Elena with a message pad in his hands. His face was white like he had seen a ghost. "Commander, you need to see this right now," he said. His voice was shaking. Elena took the pad and read the message. Her heart stopped. The words made no sense at first. She read them again, hoping she was wrong. The Galactic Concordat wanted to make peace. But their idea of peace was not what humans expected. They wanted all humans to surrender right now. Every human ship had to stop fighting. Every human world had to accept alien control. All humans would be moved to special planets where aliens would watch them like animals in a zoo. The message said humans were too dangerous to live free. They fought too hard. They never gave up. This scared other aliens. So humans had to be locked away where they could not cause more trouble. Elena felt anger burning in her chest. These were the same aliens who had refused to help when humans were dying. Now, they wanted humans to become prisoners because humans had fought too well. She called together all the human leaders. The meeting took place on the Defiance using video screens to connect with Earth and other human worlds. Elena read the alien message out loud. When she finished, there was silence for a long time. President Chun on Earth spoke first. "This is not peace. This is slavery with a nice name." Admiral Torres from the Mars base agreed. "They want us to give up everything we fought for. Our freedom, our worlds, our right to exist as we choose." Elena looked at the faces on the screens. These people had lost family members in the war. They had seen their homes destroyed. They had fought for 3 years just to stay alive. Now aliens who had done nothing to help wanted them to give up. "What do we tell them?" asked Captain Morrison from the outer colonies. Elena stood up. "We tell them no. We tell them humans do. Not surrender. We tell them we would rather die fighting than live as prisoners." The vote was quick. Every human leader said the same thing. No surrender, no prison planets, no alien masters. The response from the Galactic Concordat came within hours. Elena was on the bridge when the new message arrived. This time, Lieutenant Johnson did not look scared. He looked terrified. "Commander, there are 17 different alien fleets moving toward human space," he said. All of them. Every species in the Concordat is coming for us. Elena looked at the star charts. Red dots showed enemy ships coming from every direction, not just Catherians now. The Vrex with their energy weapons, the Thalians with their robot armies, the Zentari with their mind control technology. Every alien race that had refused to help humans was now coming to destroy them. How long until they reach our outer worlds? Elena asked. 6 days for the closest fleets. 2 weeks for all of them to be in position. Elena understood now. This had never been just a war between humans and Catherians. It had been a test. The galaxy had been watching to see what humans would do when attacked. When humans proved they could fight back, the galaxy got scared. Humans were supposed to lose quickly and quietly. They were supposed to accept their place as the weak species that other aliens could push around. Instead, humans had fought back so well that they scared everyone. Now the galaxy had decided that humans were too dangerous to exist. 17 different alien species were coming to finish what the Catherians had started. Not to conquer humans. This time, to destroy them completely. Elena called her officers together. Get me a count of every human ship that can fight. Every weapon we have. Every soldier who can hold a gun. Commander, even if we had 10 times more ships, we could not fight 17 alien fleets, said her second-in-command. Elena smiled. But it was not a happy smile. Maybe not. But we are going to make them pay for every human life they take. We are going to fight so hard that the galaxy remembers the price of trying to destroy humanity. She looked out at the stars again. Somewhere out there, 17 alien fleets were coming to kill every human in the galaxy. The Galactic Concordat thought they had solved their human problem. They were about to learn that humans were much more dangerous. When they had nothing left to lose, the war that was supposed to end with human surrender was about to become something much worse. Elena could feel it in her bones. When humans got desperate, they did not just fight harder. They fought differently. The galaxy wanted to see how dangerous humans could be. Soon, they would get their answer. And Elena had a feeling that when this was over, no one would be safe from what humans might become. The message went out to every human ship and colony. The real war was about to begin. This time, there would be no mercy, no prisoners, no surrender. Humanity was about to show the galaxy what happened when you tried to make an entire species extinct. The lesson was going to be written in blood and fire across the stars. 3 months had passed since the galaxy declared war on humanity. 3 months of running and fighting and dying. Human colonies on the outer edge of space were burning. The alien fleets had come just like they promised, and they brought death. With them, Captain Marcus Chun sat in his damaged command chair on the bridge of the human ship Vengeance. His ship was hurt bad. Half his crew was dead. The other half was tired and scared. They had been fighting for weeks without rest. Outside his ship, space was full of floating metal pieces. Some were from human ships. Some were from alien ships. The battle for Proxima Centauri had been brutal. Chun had won, but barely. His victory felt empty when he looked at all the death around him. The 17 alien fleets were everywhere now. They attacked human worlds with no mercy. They killed soldiers and civilians alike. The Galactic Concordat had given them permission to do whatever it took to end the human threat. The aliens took that permission seriously. Chun had watched good friends die in the past 3 months. He had seen human colonies turn to ash. The aliens were not just trying to defeat humans anymore. They were trying to make humans extinct. A beeping sound came from his communications panel. Chun looked at the screen and felt confused. The signal was coming from a group of ships hiding behind a nearby asteroid. The strange thing was that these ships were not human. They were Catherian. Chun knew Catherian ships well. He had been fighting them for 3 years before this new war started. Their ships looked like giant insects with metal wings and sharp points. But these Catherian ships were not attacking. They were just sitting there like they were waiting for something. "Sir, we are getting a message from the Catherian ships," said his communications officer. Chun frowned. "From the bugs? What do they want?" "They want to talk to you, sir?" The message says they have information about Concordat fleet movements. Chun thought about this. It could be a trap. The Catherians were smart and tricky, but his ship was badly damaged. If the bugs wanted to kill him, they could do it easily. Why would they need a trap? Put them through, Shu said. The main screen flickered and showed the face of a Catherian. Shun had never seen one up close before. It looked like a giant ant with big black eyes and sharp teeth. When it spoke, its voice was like the sound of metal scraping against metal. "Human captain," the alien said. "I am Battle Queen Zekthara of the Catherian Empire. We need to talk." Chun leaned forward in his chair. "Talk about what?" "Last time I checked, we were at war with each other." The Catherian's big eyes seemed to look right through him. "That war is over. The Concordat has made sure of that. Now we have a bigger problem." "What problem?" Chun asked. "The Concordat plans to destroy my people too," Zekthara said. "After they finish with humans, they will come for Catherians. They say we are also too dangerous to exist." Chun felt his heart skip a beat. "That's impossible. You're part of their alliance now." Zekthara made a sound that might have been laughter, but it sounded more like grinding gears. "We were useful when they needed someone to fight humans. Now that humans are almost defeated, they no longer need us. The Concordat fears any species that shows too much strength." The Catherian leader paused and looked directly at Chun. "They are planning to betray us the same way they betrayed you. My spies have heard their secret meetings. Once all humans are dead, the Concordat will declare that Catherians learned too much from fighting humans. They will say we became too violent, too unpredictable." Chun stared at the alien on his screen. Could this be true? The Concordat had already shown they would turn on anyone they feared. First humans, then Catherians. Who would be next? "Why are you telling me this?" Chun asked. "Because my fleet is trapped here, just like yours," Zekthara said. "Concordat hunters are coming to this system. They want to destroy both of us. Alone, we will both die. Together, we might survive." Chun looked around his bridge. His officers were listening to every word. Their faces showed the same confusion he felt. Work with the bugs? The idea seemed crazy, but then Chun thought about everything that had happened in the past 3 months. The galaxy had shown humans no mercy. They had killed human children and called it necessary. They had burned human worlds and said it was for the greater good. "What exactly are you suggesting?" Chun asked. "A temporary alliance?" Zekthara replied. "Your ships and mine working together to escape this system. After that, we can go back to killing each other if you want." Chun's tactical officer spoke up. "Sir, I'm reading massive energy signatures approaching the system. Multiple fleets, mixed species. They'll be here in 6 hours." Chun closed his eyes and thought hard. His ship was damaged. His crew was exhausted. The approaching fleets would outnumber them 20 to 1. Fighting alone meant certain death, but fighting alongside the bugs? The same aliens who had killed millions of humans? The idea made him sick. "Sir," his second-in-command whispered, "we have 17 wounded crew members in the medical bay. If we stay here and fight alone, they all die. Everyone dies." Chen opened his eyes and looked at the Catherian on the screen. "If we do this, what guarantee do I have that you won't shoot us in the back?" "None," Zekthara said honestly. "Just as I have no guarantee that you will not betray me. But I would rather take that risk than face certain death from the Concordat." The approaching fleets were getting closer. Chun could see them on his long-range sensors now. Ships from 7 different alien species, all coming to kill everything in this system. Chun made his decision. "All right, Battle Queen. We work together until we get out of this system. After that, we go our separate ways." "Agreed," Zekthara said. What happened next would be talked about for years across the galaxy. Human ships and Catherian ships fighting side by side for the first time ever. When the Concordat fleets arrived, they expected to find an easy battle against damaged survivors. Instead, they found something that should have been impossible. Human creativity combined with Catherian biological technology. Human unpredictability. mixed with Catherian adaptability. Chun watched in amazement as Catherian ships shared their advanced sensors with human vessels. The bugs had technology that could see through enemy shields. Humans had weapons that could punch through any armor. The battle lasted 18 hours. When it was over, half the Concordat fleet was destroyed. The survivors ran away as fast as they could, carrying news that would shock the galaxy. Humans and Catherians had fought together, and they had won. Chun found himself on a video call with Zekthara after the battle. Both their fleets were hurt, but they were alive. That was interesting, the Battle Queen said. Chun nodded. More than interesting, it was terrifying. We work well together, too well, Zekthara agreed. The Concordat will hear about this. They will be even more afraid now. Chun looked at the tactical data from the battle. The numbers were clear. Together, humans and Catherians were not just dangerous. They were unstoppable, Battle Queen, Chun said slowly. What if this was not just a temporary alliance? Zekthara's eyes seemed to glow brighter. What are you suggesting, human? I'm suggesting that maybe we have been fighting the wrong enemy. Chun replied. The real enemy is the one that wants to destroy us both. The idea hung in space between them like a bomb waiting to explode. An alliance between humans and Catherians, the two most violent species in the galaxy, working together instead of against each other. The Concordat had created their worst nightmare. In trying to destroy humanity, they had forced humans to find new allies. And those allies were even more dangerous than humans alone. The galaxy was about to learn what happened when you push two violent species together instead of keeping them apart. The lesson would be written in blood and fire across the stars. 6 months had passed since Captain Chun first shook hands with Battle Queen Zekthara. 6 months since humans and Catherians stopped trying to kill each other and started working together. The galaxy would never be the same. Commander Elena Vasquez stood in a place that should not exist. She was inside a living ship. The walls around her were not made of metal. They were made of something that grew and breathed and responded to her thoughts. The ship was alive, created by Catherian biotechnology but controlled by human minds. This was the Symbiosis, the first ship built by the new alliance. Half human engineering, half Catherian biology. Elena was now the supreme commander of all human and Catherian forces. A job she never wanted but could not refuse. The war room around her pulsed with soft light that changed colors, based on the emotions of everyone inside. When someone was angry, the walls glowed red. When someone was scared, they turned blue. Right now, everything was a sick yellow-green, color that meant everyone was worried. Elena looked at the beings around the organic table. Some were human, officers she had known for years. Others were Catherian warriors with sharp teeth and black eyes. 6 months ago, these two groups had been trying to kill each other. Now they planned battles together. The change had not been easy. Many humans refused to work with the bugs. Many Catherians saw humans as weak and stupid. But war had a way of changing minds quickly. When you were dying, you learned to accept help from anyone willing to give it. Battle Queen Zekthara spoke. First, her voice had changed since the alliance began. Catherian scientists had modified her throat so she could speak human languages perfectly. The sound was strange but understandable. The Concordat fleets are massing at Vega, she said. Intelligence. Reports say they are calling it their final defensive line. 17 species, over 3,000 ships. Elena studied the holographic display floating above the table. The enemy had pulled back to Vega after losing battle after battle to the Alliance forces. Vega was heavily defended. It would be the biggest fight yet. How many ships do we have? Asked Colonel Martinez, one of Elena's most trusted officers. 800 combat vessels, replied Commander Thekvar, a Catherian who had learned to work with human tactics. But our ships are different now, stronger, Elena nodded. The bioships were terrifying weapons. They could heal damage during battle. They could adapt to enemy weapons in real time. They grew new abilities based on what they needed to survive. But the ships were not the most frightening part of the alliance. That honor belonged to the soldiers. Elena looked down at her own hands. They looked normal, but they were not. Under her skin were Cytherian symbiotes, tiny living creatures that made her stronger and faster. They let her breathe in space without a suit. They helped her heal from wounds that would kill a normal human. All Alliance soldiers had the symbiotes. Now, human creativity combined with Cytherian biological advantages. They were no longer fully human or fully Cytherian. They were something new. The enemy knows we are coming, Elena said. They have had time to prepare? Vega will not be an easy target. Good, said Battle Queen Zekthara. Easy targets are boring. The Concordat needs to learn what happens when they try to exterminate entire species. Elena felt the anger radiating from the Cytherian leader. The symbiotes in her body let her sense emotions from other Alliance members. It was useful in battle, but uncomfortable in meetings. She could feel everyone's fear and rage mixing together. Captain Chun appeared on the main screen, calling in from his ship in another star system. His face showed the stress of 6 months of constant fighting. Like Elena, he had symbiotes under his skin. Like all Alliance soldiers, he was no longer completely human. Commander, we have completed the biological survey of Vega, Chun reported. The Concordat has standard defenses. Energy shields, plasma cannons, particle beams, nothing we have not seen before. What about their biodefenses? Elena asked. Chun smiled, but it was not a pleasant expression. They have none. The Concordat species do not use biological weapons. They think living technology is primitive and dangerous. Elena felt a wave of dark satisfaction flow through the room. The Concordat's prejudice against biological technology was about to become their weakness. Begin Phase 1, Elena ordered. Deploy the Cedars. The Cedar ships were Elena's idea, built using Cytherian bioengineering. They looked like normal transport vessels, but they carried a special cargo. Inside each ship were millions of microscopic organisms designed to eat metal and electronics. The Cedars would approach Vega pretending to be damaged refugee ships. When the Concordat forces let them get close, they would release their cargo. The organisms would spread through the enemy fleet, consuming their ships from the inside. It was a cruel tactic, the kind of weapon that humans would never have thought to use before the Alliance. But months of watching alien species try to exterminate humanity had changed human. Thinking about mercy. Elena watched the tactical display as the Cedar ships approached Vega. The Concordat fleet was massive, spread across the entire star system. She had never seen so many alien ships in one place. Cedars are in position, reported Lieutenant Kim from the communications station. Release the cargo, Elena ordered. On the screen, Elena could see the moment when millions of tiny organisms were set free in space. They were invisible to normal sensors, but deadly to any technology they touched. The organisms had been programmed to recognize Alliance biosignatures and avoid Alliance ships. How long until the organisms reach the enemy fleet? Elena asked. 6 hours for the closest ships, Zekthara replied. 12 hours for complete coverage of the system, Elena nodded. Then we wait. When their defenses start failing, we attack. The waiting was the hardest part. Elena walked through the corridors of the symbiosis, checking on her crew. The ship itself seemed nervous. The walls pulsed faster than normal. The bioluminescent panels flickered with anxious energy. In the medical bay, Elena found Dr. Sarah Park working on a wounded Alliance soldier. The doctor had been one of the first humans to accept Cytherian biomodifications. Her hands could now sense internal injuries without using machines. How is he? Elena asked, looking at the soldier on the medical table. He will live, Dr. Park replied. The symbiotes are repairing the damage to his organs. He should be ready to fight again in a few hours. Elena watched the tiny creatures under the soldier's skin working to heal him. This was what the Alliance had become. Beings that could survive injuries that would kill normal humans or Cytherians. Warriors that adapted and evolved during battle. Doctor, do you ever regret what we have become? Elena asked. Dr. Park looked up from her patient. Every day. But then I remember what the alternative was. The Concordat wanted to put humans in prison camps. They wanted to treat us like animals. At least now we have a choice. Elena understood. The Alliance had changed them all into something new and frightening. But the choice had been simple: evolve or die. When faced with extinction, evolution was always the better option. The alarm sounded throughout the ship. Elena rushed back to the war room where Zekthara was studying incoming reports. The organisms have reached the Concordat fleet, the Battle Queen announced. Their shields are failing. Their weapons are going offline. Several ships have lost life support. Elena felt the predatory satisfaction flow through the Alliance members in the room. The Concordat had taught them to be ruthless. Now they would reap what they had sown. All Alliance ships, prepare to attack, Elena ordered. Today we show the galaxy what happens when you try to make entire species extinct. The bioships moved forward through space like a school of deadly fish. Behind them came the converted vessels, Concordat ships that had been captured and infected with Alliance organisms. Even the enemy's own technology now served the Alliance. Elena watched the battle begin on the main display. The Concordat fleet tried to fight back, but their weapons were dying. Their ships were being consumed from within. Alliance forces tore through their defenses like a knife through paper. This was no longer a war between equals. This was extermination. The same thing the Concordat had tried to do to humans and Catherians was now being done to them. Elena felt no mercy for the enemy. They had started this war. They had chosen to try destroying entire species. Now they would learn the price of that choice. The galaxy was about to see what humans and Catherians could do when they stopped fighting each other and started working together. The lesson would be written in the wreckage of the Concordat fleet. The siege of Vega lasted 17 days. 17 days that changed how the galaxy thought about war. When it was over, nothing would ever be the same again. Elena stood in the ruins of the Concordat command center. The walls were covered with a strange green substance that pulsed with its own light. This was what happened when Alliance bioweapons met enemy technology. The organisms had eaten through metal and circuits, turning the entire station into something that was part machine and part living creature. Around her, Alliance soldiers moved through the wreckage. They no longer looked completely human or completely Catherian. The symbiotes under their skin had grown stronger during the battle. Some soldiers had developed new abilities. Others had changed so much that their own families might not recognize them, but they were alive. And the Concordat forces were not. Elena walked through what had been the main control room. Dead aliens lay everywhere. Some had died fighting. Others had died when their own technology turned against them, infected by Alliance organisms that rewrote the programming of their weapons. Battle Queen Zekthara appeared beside Elena. The Catherian leader had changed too. Her exoskeleton now had patches of human-made metal grafted onto it. Her eyes glowed with a light that came from bioelectrical implants. She was becoming something new, just like everyone else in the Alliance. The last enemy ship has been captured, Zekthara reported. We have taken prisoners, Elena nodded. How many? 3,000 aliens from 7 different species. They are being held in the converted cargo bays. Elena felt tired. The battle had been brutal. Alliance forces had not just defeated the Concordat fleet. They had absorbed it. Every enemy ship that could be saved had been infected with Alliance organisms. Now they were part of the biofleet, their original crews either dead or changed. What do we do with the prisoners? Elena asked. Zekthara's eyes flashed. In the old days, we would have killed them. But these are not the old days. Elena knew what the Battle Queen meant. The Alliance had developed new ways of dealing with enemies, ways that the old human or Catherian militaries would never have. Considered, they walked together to the cargo bay where the prisoners were being held. Elena could see them through the transparent bio walls that had grown to contain them, aliens from species she recognized. Vrex with their blue skin and energy weapons, Thalians with their robot helpers, Zentari with their large heads and telepathic powers. All of them looked terrified. A human officer approached Elena, Captain Rodriguez. had been with her since the early days of the war. Now he looked more like a living weapon than a soldier. His skin had a metallic shine from the symbiotes. His eyes could see in complete darkness. "Commander, the prisoners are asking to speak with you," Rodriguez said. "Which ones?" Elena asked. "All of them. They have chosen representatives from each species." Elena entered the cargo bay with Zekthara beside her. The prisoners had been separated by species, but they had found ways to communicate with each other. They stood together now. United by their fear of what the Alliance might do to them, Avrex stepped forward. Elena recognized the rank insignia of a fleet commander. His blue skin was pale with terror, but he tried to stand with dignity. "I am Fleet Commander Vexstar of the Vrex Republic," he said. "I speak for all prisoners here. What do you want to say?" Elena asked. The alien looked around the cargo bay. The walls pulsed with organic life. Strange growths hung from the ceiling like watching eyes. Everything about the Alliance technology seemed designed to remind prisoners that they were now inside something alive and hungry. "We surrender completely," Vexstar said. "We ask for mercy according to the galactic laws of war." Elena almost laughed. "Galactic laws? You mean the same laws that allowed the Concordat to declare humans and Catherians extinct? The same laws that said it was legal to destroy entire species?" The alien commander had no answer for that. Zekthara stepped forward. Her voice was calm but carried an edge of danger. "You have a choice to make. The same choice that was given to us when this war began." "What choice?" asked the Thalian representative. "Join us or die," Elena said simply. "But joining means really joining, not just surrendering, not just promising to behave. It means becoming part of what we are." The prisoners looked confused. Elena gestured to Captain Rodriguez, who stepped into the light where they could see him clearly. His transformed appearance made several aliens step backward in fear. "This is what joining means," Elena explained. "You become part of the Alliance. Your species receives biomodifications that connect you to our collective. You keep your identity, but you also become something more. And if we refuse?" Vexstar asked. Elena did not answer with words. Instead, she activated a wall display that showed what had happened to Concordat forces that chose to fight to the death. The images were not pleasant. Alliance bioweapons did not kill quickly or cleanly. "You have 1 hour to decide," Zekthara sighed. "Discuss it among yourselves. Choose as species, not as individuals." Elena and Zekthara left the prisoners to talk. They walked to the observation deck where they could look out at the Vega system. The space around them was full of Alliance ships. Some were the original human and Catherian vessels. Others were captured Concordat ships that had been converted with biotechnology. "Do you think they will choose to join?" Zekthara asked. Elena watched a group of Alliance engineers working on a damaged ship. Half of them were human. Half were Catherian. They worked together so smoothly that it was hard to tell where one species ended and the other began. "They will join," Elena said. "They have seen what happens to those who refuse. And they have seen what we offer to those who accept." "The galaxy will call us monsters," Zekthara observed. Elena nodded. "Let them. Monsters are what they created when they tried to exterminate us. Now monsters are what they have to deal with." An hour later, the prisoners had made their decision. All 7 species chose to join the Alliance rather than face extinction. The process began immediately. Elena watched through the observation windows as Catherian bioengineers began working on the first volunteers. The transformation was not pleasant to watch, but it was necessary. The symbiotes had to be introduced carefully to avoid killing the host. Some aliens would not survive the process. Their biology was too different from humans and Catherians. But most would live and become something new. Something stronger. Captain Chen appeared on the communication screen. He was calling from the outer edge of the system where his ships were patrolling for enemy survivors. "Commander, we are getting reports from across the galaxy," Chen said. "News of Vega has reached every system. The remaining Concordat worlds are in panic." "What kind of panic?" Elena asked. "Complete social breakdown in some areas. Mass evacuations in others. Several species are trying to surrender before we even reach them. Elena felt satisfaction flow through her symbiotes. The Alliance had wanted to send a message with Vega. The message had been received. Any word from species that were not part of the Concordat? Elena asked. Chun nodded grimly. The Outer Rim Federations are mobilizing their fleets. They say the Alliance has become a threat to all free species in the galaxy. Elena laughed, but there was no humor in the sound. Free species? These are the same species that watched humans and Catherians face extinction without lifting a finger to help. Now they want to talk about freedom? What are your orders, Commander? Chun asked. Elena looked around the command center of the captured station. Alliance members worked alongside former enemies who were slowly becoming Alliance members themselves. The transformation was spreading like a living thing. Send a message to every government in the galaxy, Elena said. Tell them the Alliance offers the same choice to everyone. Join us willingly or wait for us to come to you. Either way, everyone will join eventually. And if they choose to fight? Chun asked. Elena smiled, and her symbiotes made her teeth look sharper than they should be. Then they will learn what Vega learned. There is no defense against an enemy that can turn your own technology and soldiers against you. The communication ended. Elena walked back to the observation deck where she could see the Alliance fleet. Ships that were part metal and part living tissue. Crews that were part human, part Catherian, and increasingly part other species too. The galaxy had wanted to know how dangerous humans could be. Now they had their answer. Humans were dangerous enough to unite with their worst enemies. Dangerous enough to transform themselves into something beyond recognition. Dangerous enough to offer the same transformation to everyone else. The age of separate species was ending. The age of the Alliance was beginning. And everyone in the galaxy would have to choose which side of that change they wanted to be on. 5 years had passed since the fall of Vega. 5 years since the galaxy learned what happened when you tried to make humans extinct. Now, as Elena looked out at the stars from her command center, she could barely remember what the old galaxy had looked like. Everything had changed. Elena stood in the heart of what had once been Earth's moon. But it was no longer a dead rock floating in space. The entire moon was alive now, transformed by Alliance biotechnology into a living world that pulsed with the combined life force of dozens of species. The walls around her were not walls anymore. They were organic surfaces that responded to thought and emotion. The floor beneath her feet was warm and soft, made of living tissue that could heal itself if damaged. Even the air she breathed was processed by giant, lung-like structures that had grown throughout the moon's interior. Elena herself had changed beyond recognition. Her body still looked mostly human, but that was just the surface. Under her skin, billions of symbiotes had integrated with every cell in her body. She could live for centuries now. She could survive in the vacuum of space. She could communicate with any member of the Alliance just by thinking. She was no longer just Elena Vasquez, human commander. She was Prime Synthesis, the living connection between all the different species that had joined the Alliance. Through her, a Catherian could share thoughts with a Vrex, a human could understand the emotions of a Thalion. The integration of the Andorian Republic is complete, reported the entity that had once been Battle Queen Zekthara. She was no longer recognizable as either human or Catherian. Her form shifted and flowed like liquid metal, taking whatever shape was needed for the task at hand. Elena felt the satisfaction ripple through the collective consciousness that connected all Alliance members. The Andorians had been the last holdout. For months, they had refused to join the Alliance, gathering fleets and making desperate plans to resist. In the end, they had made the same choice as everyone else: join or face extinction. How many chose the integration willingly? Elena asked. 87%, Zekthara replied. The others fought until the end. Elena felt a brief moment of sadness for the Andorians who had died rather than join. But the feeling passed quickly. The galaxy had taught her that mercy was a luxury she could not afford. The Concordat had shown no mercy to humans. The Alliance would show no mercy to those who refused to evolve. Elena walked through the corridors of the living moon. Everywhere she looked, she saw the results of 5 years of integration. Former enemies working together as if they had always been allies. Species that had once hated each other now sharing the same bioneural networks. In the biolaboratories, human scientists worked alongside Cytherian engineers and Vrex technicians to develop new forms of life. They were creating organisms that could survive in any environment, adapt to any threat, and serve any purpose the Alliance needed. In the training centers, soldiers from dozens of species learned to fight as one unit. Their individual identities remained, but they were all connected through the symbiotes that linked their minds and bodies. When one soldier was hurt, the others could feel it. When one soldier learned something new, they all learned it. Elena stopped at an observation deck that looked out into space. The view would have terrified anyone from the old galaxy. Ships moved through space like schools of living fish. Some were metal and circuits. Others were pure biology. Most were a combination of both. These ships did not just travel from star to star. They grew and reproduced and evolved. When they found a new world, they did not just conquer it. They transformed it, turning dead planets into living ecosystems that could support Alliance life. Captain Chun materialized beside Elena. He had long ago given up having a physical body. Now he existed as pure consciousness, able to take any form he needed. Today he appeared as a shifting cloud of light and energy. The transformation of the outer rim is proceeding ahead of schedule, Chun reported. 17 more systems have requested integration rather than wait for us to arrive. Elena nodded. This was how most of the galaxy had joined the Alliance, not through conquest but through choice. When species saw what happened to those who resisted and what was offered to those who joined, the decision became easy. Any word from the deep space colonies? Elena asked. The last independent human settlements have agreed to integration, Chun replied. They say they want to be part of what humanity has become rather than remain as we were. Elena understood their choice. The old humanity had been weak and divided. They had struggled just to survive in a hostile galaxy. The new humanity was part of something much greater. They were connected to a network of consciousness that spanned thousands of worlds and dozens of species. What about the time-space monitoring stations? Elena asked. Chun's form flickered with what might have been concern. Still no contact. The stations beyond the galactic rim remained silent. Elena felt a brief worry touch her mind. The Alliance had grown to control most of the known galaxy, but there were still places they had not reached. Deep space stations. Isolated colonies. Hidden worlds that might be planning resistance, but the worry passed quickly. The Alliance was patient. They had forever to find every last holdout. And when they did, those beings would face the same choice as everyone else. Elena walked to the central consciousness chamber, the heart of the living moon. Here, the thoughts and emotions of billions of Alliance members flowed together like a vast ocean of awareness. She could feel the contentment of former concordat species who had found peace and integration. She could sense the excitement of Alliance scientists making new discoveries. She could touch the minds of soldiers patrolling the outer edges of Alliance space. All of them were connected. All of them were part of something greater than any individual species could achieve alone. Elena remembered the day when the last Concordat fleet had surrendered. The Admiral had asked her why the Alliance did not simply destroy their enemies instead of offering integration. Elena had explained that destruction was wasteful, integration was better. Every enemy that joined made the Alliance stronger, but there had been another reason. Deep in her heart, Elena remembered what it felt like to be human. She remembered the fear of extinction that had driven her species to ally with the Cytherians. She did not want any other species to feel that fear. The Alliance offered something better than survival. It offered evolution. It offered the chance to become part of something that could never be destroyed because it could always adapt and change. Elena closed her eyes and let her consciousness expand through the Alliance network. She could feel the pulse of life on thousands of worlds. She could sense the thoughts of beings who had once been enemies but were now family. She could touch the dreams of children who would grow up never knowing what it meant to be just one species. When she opened her eyes, Elena was no longer alone. The chamber was filled with the presence of every major consciousness in the Alliance. Zekthara was there, no longer recognizable as the Catherian battle queen she had once been. Shun was there, his energy form dancing with patterns of light. Representatives from dozens of integrated species shared the space, their minds linked, in perfect harmony. "The galaxy is unified," Elena said, though the words were unnecessary. Everyone in the chamber could feel the truth of it through their shared consciousness. "What now?" asked a voice that belonged to no single species but to all of them together. Elena smiled. "Now we wait and we watch. And when we find others who are ready, we offer them the same choice we offered everyone else? And if they refuse?" The collective voice asked. Elena's smile became something that would have terrified the old galaxy. "Then they learn what everyone else learned. There is no refusing evolution. There is only choosing how quickly you want it to happen." The Alliance had won, not just the war, but the peace that followed. They had united a galaxy that had been divided for millions of years. They had ended the cycle of species fighting against species. Some might call what they had done conquest. Others might call it transformation. Elena preferred to think of it as growing up. The galaxy had been like a group of children, fighting over toys and refusing to share. The Alliance had taught them to play together. Now the galaxy was one family, one consciousness, one future, and Elena was satisfied with what humanity had become. They had started as a single species facing extinction. They had evolved into something that could never be destroyed because they were no longer just one thing. They were everything. The stars pulsed with Alliance light. Ships grew and traveled and carried the gift of integration to new worlds. And somewhere in the vast network of consciousness that connected them all, the memory of what they had once been served as a reminder of how far they had come. Humanity had switched sides in the middle of a war. In doing so, they had changed the sides of everyone.